Week 3 predicted showers in the forecast. You hear that, rain? I'd like to think there are two types of people. The ones who pray for cloudy days, and the ones who cave during them. Unfortunately, on week 3 of quarantine, I was the latter. I just feel really bad right now. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's probably the weather. It's very overcast today. You're listening to COVID-18, a podcast that explores high school seniors' experiences during the pandemic. This type of weather has always been known to knock me off balance, even on days that would normally be great. When I started noticing the weather was affecting my mood at a young age, I realized that more than likely, I had seasonal affective disorder, known as a depression that comes from seasonal changes. One thing I noticed with my mental health during self-isolation was the domino effect of it. First, it's the rain. Then the hail hits. And before I know it, last night I was kind of sad, feeling a little isolated, I guess, disconnected. I just feel really out of control right now. Quarantine has been known to increase feelings of isolation and loneliness. But what I didn't realize at the time was that while I was dwelling alone in my room, my feelings weren't all that original.
The weather's been very gloomy. It just makes you, it's one of those things that sets you in that mood to just be upset, and it makes you contemplate things. And yes.
Akina Westmoreland, a senior who talked last week about missing prom, was feeling it all too much.
There's some people who love it, and then there's a lot of people who don't, because it makes you feel more upset. It's like you become more in tune with everything that's going on that's wrong in life right now.
So on Monday morning, when that hail started hitting the grounds of Merced, something that seems to happen 2 times a year tops, it blended right in for the news of the week.
Tonight, sadness and confusion over the deaths of 2 young girls, Angelina Garcia and Lauren Murrieta of Oakdale High. A preliminary police investigation found the pair took their own lives this past weekend.
Lauren Murrieta, a senior, was a former student of El Capitan. She was loved by many, and her death washed over social media the day after she passed. Melanie Lemus, who shared her special connection with social media last week, was an extremely close friend of Lauren's, who found ways to grieve the pain despite the circumstances everyone had already been facing.
She was one of my friends since freshman year, and she's always had trouble in home, and she was right now she was living in Oakdale. And yeah, she passed away on Friday, but I didn't find out till the night after, on Saturday.
Although Lauren went into self-isolation like the rest of us, it was safe to say Lauren's battles were far more difficult than many. And when tragedies like that come out of nowhere, it makes it harder for everyone impacted to follow the rules.
Definitely this week was one of the hardest weeks out of, not just from being in quarantine, but in general in life. That 2 days after she passed away, me and my friends had a little hangout, which I know it's against, but I'm really glad that I did, because we have all been like in quarantine for weeks now, and I really think I would have lost it if I didn't hang out with them, honestly.
Unfortunately, these 2 young girls losing their lives were not the first teenage suicides to take place in California since the shutdown.
The rate of deaths among high school age students in just the last few weeks is concerning. Lauren and Angelina's case raises the count up to 5 in just 14 days.
Other students in Natoma's Unified School District, located in Sacramento, and one in Stockton took their lives, according to KCRA 3.
Depressed, oh Lord. That's all I can say. Oh, no. That's crazy. My dad knows that person.
In addition to the uptick in suicides, there had also been more shocking news from Merced County. The first death reported, brought on by the coronavirus. Pete Garcia, a senior from El Capitan and a close friend of mine, had been practicing self-isolation before many of us. Pete and I had a lot of classes together, and in the final week, I walked to class alone in his absence. When I told Pete the news, he felt very agitated.
From what I know, a lot of people in Merced are like, Merced is like such a small town, like the quarantine doesn't really matter here, like it shouldn't really affect us. And I see everyone like out and about, and it's just like our numbers keep going up, and you're wondering why it's going up, and it's because you're not doing quarantine, you're not self-isolating, and it's just, oh my god, it's frustrating.
A lot of this stress was fluid for a variety of seniors. After that first death came 2 more during the week. The count was rising exponentially, and still, Merced wasn't budging in their thoughts on the severity of the virus. Aaliyah Moreno, who talked last week about the shock she was experiencing and not going back to school, explained the atmosphere in Merced.
Merced, it looks like it almost normally does, midday. If you came through Merced, you wouldn't be like, oh, they're in quarantine? You'd just be like, oh, I think everyone's at work or something. Like, it doesn't look like that. So I think mentally that just was like, what's up with Merced? Like, why are people going out and about?
So it really raises a question of concern for the people of Merced. I mean, yeah, we want our graduation. We want our prom. And quite frankly, we want to go back to school. But now all normality is lost, and the harshness of all these deaths is changing things up for Merced. Next week, we'll dive into another topic. The topic that shaped the routine every senior had grown used to, and before quarantine, had even claimed they'd grown tired of. School. Education is taking a whole new approach. So how will our seniors navigate? Find out next Friday. And remember to listen to previous episodes for more information on the seniors introduced again in today's episode. This is a production of We Said Youth Media and Youth Leadership Institute. I'm your host, Rachel Livenall.